Hey, welcome back to the Artie Lange Show. I'm sitting here with a real talented guy, and we have a brief thing in common. A brief for him.
That's right.
We're both Mad TV alumni. This is Taran Killam from SNL.
Hello.
Saturday Night Live right now.
How's it going?
How you doing? Well, thanks
Very
for coming.
good.
You're very busy.
Thank you. No, I have anxiety. I've had to cancel a couple times, so I'm glad this finally worked out.
Dude, we appreciate you coming.
Of course.
So especially now, it's a work week, so you're up there rehearsing.
That's right. Yeah, they're still in the studio rehearsing right now.
And Justin Timberlake is there this week.
The man.
So what is
The
that
man.
like? Just
Yeah.
it must be craziness, right?
It is crazy. It's
He's as
overwhelming.
big as a star gets.
Well,
right?
he's got recurring characters of his own. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Normally, a guest comes in, and it's like, which of the cast is going to have a good show? And this week will be his show.
He's
and
great
rightfully
on the
so,
show,
because he can do it all. Yeah,
right. He does impressions, characters. He can sing.
Exactly.
It's funny, those people who grew up in like the Mickey Mouse
The
Club,
MMC, yeah, the second generation, the MMC.
they know how to perform.
It's
you
so
know,
true.
They've been, you know, maybe they don't have the edge that you like some people to have in comedy. You go like, oh, there's nothing dangerous about them. But,
Right.
But at the same time, that's just a stupid way to look at it. They're so talented and they know how to perform.
It's so true.
They've been in front, and so when you watch them do a sketch, you're like, wow, this is a real pro.
Yeah, yeah.
And you're part of an iconic situation up there now. So
It's crazy. Yeah, just to have good seats, you know what I mean? Just to be up close to it is worth it. It's so true. This is his 5th time hosting.
Right.
Yeah, and he's a good guy, and it's familiar, which is always helpful. You know, in comedy, any shared experience is nice. So it's exciting to have him back.
You did Mad TV first.
For Blink.
13 episodes or something?
Yeah, half a season exactly.
I was in the original cast of Mad TV, and
know.
I say, isn't like the audition process for a sketch comedy show? Isn't
The hardest.
It's the most nerve-wracking.
The hardest.
thing. It's like a 3-hour screen test because you go in, you go out, you got to do original characters, impressions, like improv.
Exactly. When I was 19 when I did Mad TV.
Right. Wow. My God.
Yeah, and just more of a class clown. Didn't come from stand up or any of that.
What was your
so it was
background?
nerve-wracking. I was in college. I was just college, and I was funny. And my manager at the time repped somebody that they wanted to see.
Okay.
And they threw me at him too, and it just kind of snowballed.
No kidding. So you know, no Groundlings or Second City where
Hadn't
they get
started
everybody
that.
from.
I
Okay.
went to Groundlings eventually, but that came after because all the writers and cast that I really respected, a lot of them had come from Groundlings, so I went backwards.
Where'd you go to college?
I was a Bruin, UCLA Bruin.
Okay, so you're
for
right there.
A
and
year,
and
exactly.
Performing.
Yeah.
You do a lot of improv and stuff? Is that your background?
Not before that, like maybe like a stand-up class in high school.
Oh, okay.
Which
Right.
I was not very good at, but I've always been good at impressions. That they're just sort of had an ear for it. So that was a huge part of my audition. And me and Bobby Lee, who was on the show for a while, we got hired together.
Now, what impressions would you do at Mad TV?
Back then, it was like the height of the WB, which now has become the CW. So it was like a lot of like Vanderbeeks and a lot of
Dawson's Creek stuff.
Dawson's Creek, Buffy, any sort of teeny bopper, Josh Hartnett, Chris Klein, stuff like that. Yeah.
And now at SNL, you do some original characters. And, that's more fun, right?
That's the best. Yeah, I went going backwards, doing Groundlings with sketch improv theater in LA.
Right.
I took classes and performed there for about 7 years.
So you were on Mad TV before you got in the Groundlings.
Yeah.
That's odd. So you already had TV experience.
Exactly.
And then you went to the Groundlings, and then you honed your skills there, kind of, and then then Lauren recognized you somehow, and you got
the gig at Mad TV made me realize that I liked doing it, but I just had no idea how to do it. So it was time to figure it out a little bit. So yeah, so I improv, and then there's like 2 companies. There's the Sunday company, which is like the junior company, and then the main company, and Lauren saw me when I was in Sunday.
Okay.
I auditioned twice, didn't get it, moved into the main company, and then they had me back up.
And then he had you back. Now, did you do the classic thing here? Because I met Lauren. It's funny. 2 years. I did Mad TV for 2 years, and I did movies for a couple of years, and then a sitcom. But I worked with a lot of SNL guys. I did movies with Norm Macdonald and David Spade.
Of course. Yeah.
Right in a row.
Dirty Work is one of my favorites.
Thank you.
No, truly.
But Norm is one of the funniest guys. So I was sort of known in that world, and I met Lauren at his office at Paramount Studios in LA. It was one of the craziest things ever. It's intimidating. But so did you have an actual audition in SNL Studios in front of him?
3 times. Yeah, 3 times. Once, and then that went pretty good. They called me back maybe 3 weeks later.
Wow.
So it's like you after Mad, SNL never seemed like a possibility growing up. I was always a fan. Then this Mad TV thing happened as a fluke,
Right.
and it seemed a bit more plausible, but
Sure.
I wanted to prepare.
You had sketch experience on national television.
It's a real thing that could happen. So when he came, I had my bag of tricks ready, my first audition. Here's what I've been planning to do for the last 7 years. Here's my A material. Here you go. Yeah. 2 weeks later, what else do you have? And it's like, well, here's all the crap.
No, the sketches is really like okay. What, so you do impression now for you. So you wait. There's a 2 to 3 week limbo period where you don't hear anything.
Right. Like
and it's got to be nerve-wracking as hell. Then you fly back to Los Angeles during that time.
Yeah, that first one is like, it's sort of Willy Wonka-y, you know what I mean? Like, I got a golden ticket, I'm just gonna go. I just get to be in there. So the first audition was just a party. Like, I literally, there was a group of us that went. I rented a limousine to pick us up from the airport, and we just blasted Frank Sinatra and just drove in through Midtown Tunnel. It was the best. And like, of course, nerve-wracking for the audition, but you're walking down the halls and you're seeing pictures of Murray, Belushi, Aykroyd. You know what I mean? It's crazy. Like, I can't believe I'm here, and here's my stuff, and I'm prepared. A week goes by, they like you, they're bringing you back to do the same thing again right now.
Wow.
And
now, is Lorne in the crowd? The famous thing is Lorne never laughs.
He's there.
Did you hear him laugh?
I got some laughs. I got some laughs. Cause you know, it's that thing where you're trying to sneak peek. You're trying to be professional and focused, but your eyes are shifting, of course.
Right.
But you're right. It's a sketch auditioning for something where you're responsible for the material.
Unbelievable.
Is the hardest thing to do.
Right.
And in that, you've been to shows, so you know it's smaller than you think, but empty.
Right.
It's a vacuum.
It's ridiculous.
And it's just a dark, freezing vacuum. And you do the audition where the host does their monologue right on the stage.
Wow. Wow.
And you start talking. It's crazy.
Because that can get in your head. Like, okay, listen, I'm standing where Steve Martin has stood 52 times.
I'm a sentimental guy, so I could have broke down in tears right away.
Think about that. That is crazy.
There's something funny to that, but I think for 5 minutes it would get sad.
Yeah.
But
now, who else is there? Is it Lorne and other writers?
Lorne.
Is it are network people there too?
No.
He
This is Lorne's domain. Yeah.
I love that.
It's the best.
That's where I love.
And he protects you in that way too. You know.
That's like. I love the fact, having dealt with network executives for so long and different things, that a guy can be powerful enough to say, listen, just stay away from my show.
Absolutely.
And so now you go back, and when you get it, like, I mean, it's just euphoria, right?
It was the best. It was like another New York happening. Like I said, I did the 2. A year went by.
Right.
Kept doing shows at Groundlings. They kind of said after the second one, it's not happening now, but it's not never.
You're young, you got a shot.
But I took that with a grain of salt, otherwise I would have driven myself crazy.
Right. Now, let me ask you about this. In that time period, SNL was the dream, okay?
Of course.
So in that time period, you're in LA, you're at the Groundlings. Are you saying to yourself, now, do you have a team of people like agents where you go, did you make a conscious decision saying, listen, if I get offered some bad sitcom, even though I need money, but where they want me to sign a 6-year deal, did you say in your head, I'm going to wait till SNL is totally out of the picture?
I didn't. I actually got lucky. I actually booked a pilot, the pilot season in between.
So you took it, you were like, a
buddy of mine created it.
Made money.
Yeah, exactly. I needed the cash, but a buddy of mine created it. It would have, listen, boo-hoo if that series had gone to series.
Right.
But it went, I got paid, they didn't pick it up, I was free.
And SNL
3 months
back.
later, SNL calls.
See, and again, it might sound like cold-hearted towards a series, but series are such a crapshoot. It could be a friend who created it, who you know is unbelievably funny and smart, but so many things could go wrong.
Yes.
And network medals and stuff with SNL, and again, so that's great. So you made the money, you commit, and then you were free.
Ideal. Yeah.
You audition again, you get it.
I audition. Another week, come meet Lorne, because there is the Lorne meeting. They fly you out just for that, and that's when you're the most in your head. You know what I mean? But it also feels at that point like it's yours to screw up.
Sure.
So I just hands at my side, please and thank you.
Right.
And,
exactly.
You know what I mean? And it was great. I mean. It was all a blur, but I kind of remember you sort of are hanging around the 17th floors where all the production offices are, where all the writing happens.
The writing happens there. And the 8th floor is the studio, right?
Exactly right.
I was shooting a movie in the summer of 1998 with David Spade, and I got a call from my agent at the time, William Morris, saying Lorne Michaels wants to meet you.
Yeah.
And Spade, they made me ask Spade to get to get an afternoon off to go meet him. And same exact thing. They're like, we probably want you for the show. He never does this. Just get there. Same thing, like kiss his ass. Please, thank you, blah, blah.
Right.
And it was the craziest meeting. And it turns out he just wanted me to maybe, it's a long story, but he wanted me to maybe like audition for a movie. Superstar with Molly Shannon.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
That's how far back we're going.
Awesome.
But yeah, so in a way, the meeting is more nerve-wracking than the audition.
100. Yeah, exactly. Because, you know who he is. You know so much about him.
Right.
You know, what does he care about you?
And you let him get away with obnoxious behavior because the guy, at the end of the day, the guy created the single most influential comedy show of all time.
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely. I think in the little time, this is my 3rd year on the show, and the little time I've spent around him, I really think he's smart. He's just a smart guy. It's not a fluke.
Right,
you don't have a
this doesn't
you don't
just
have
happen.
a #1 comedy show for 38 years by accident.
Yeah.
And the way he plays it, in my opinion, is he lets you project.
Right.
He just does. He does. He's figuring you out. You're figuring him out. But you're so wound up, or I am. You know, that I'm projecting on him. He hates me. He likes me. And honestly, he's got 57 things, just production-wise, on that show alone to think about before he's like, how's Taran feeling?
Right.
You know, it's
well,
like,
no, but listen, you're a human being and you can't help but think that. But when you think, it's pompous of you to think he's spending so much time thinking of you either way.
Totally.
But listen, you're going to think that. It's your person.
Yeah.